The year is 2011. Harry Potter concludes their mainline movie series with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Oprah ends her talk show, and most importantly, Rebecca Black drops her hit single, Friday, to terrorize the general public on the radio. In the midst of all of this, Relic drops another Warhammer game. But not another Dawn of War though. A Gears of War-esque game about Space Marines against hordes of Xenos. The Space Marine experience in game form, ripping and tearing through Gretchens, Orcs, and Knobs. I remember playing this game on release as a longtime Warhammer fan. My dad played it and got me and my brothers into it at a very young age. And with the release of Space Marine 2 around the corner, I had been asking myself, was Space Marine really as good as I remembered it? Is it worth a $60 price tag in 2024? Well, cut to a couple weeks ago, I saw it on sale for a whopping $17 and figured, why not? I haven't played this game since 2011. Let's get into it. Also, I streamed the entire playthrough live here on YouTube and uploaded the full playthrough to my channel. Links in the description to check it out. For my playthrough of Space Marine, I chose to take the path the God Emperor himself would want me to. I played it on hard. In total, I completed the game, gathering roughly 75% of the collectible servo skulls in just under 6 hours. The story of Space Marine is kind of generic. You are put in the shoes of Captain Titus, voiced by the one and only Mark Strong, as he and his two other Ultramarine brothers, Sergeant Sedonis and Brother Leandris, are tasked with taking back the world of Gria, a planet designed solely for weapons manufacturing and home to a warlord titan called Invictus. You see, Gria was in a bit of trouble. A bunch of green fungal goons decided they wanted a warlord titan for themselves, and the best way to take it would be to scream over and over again while bashing puny guardsmen around. What they didn't plan for was a bunch of 8-foot tall, roided out Englishmen to storm in, dripped out in blue armor. This is overall the general plot of Space Marine. It's pretty simple, but ultimately we aren't here for the story. We are here for the massive gothic set pieces in the 41st millennia and purging Xenos and heretics for the God Emperor. I'd give the story and overall plot 7 out of 10, mostly because I'm a sucker for some Warhammer content. Overall, the gameplay on keyboard and mouse, which I understand the game was not designed for, was alright. There's a few issues where it feels a little hard to recover from an accidental roll, and holding control to aim instead of right mouse button took some time to get used to. The melee combat felt basic, and I didn't use much of it, to be honest, but the real fun was when you got to access the Assault Pack. That thing really made you feel like a scary Space Marine whose sole function was to destroy everything that stood in your way. Jumping, dashing, and thunderhammering your way through the green tide just felt great. Unfortunately, you only get to use it a handful of times. Gameplay as a whole, I would give it 8 out of 10 for nostalgia purposes. It truly felt like a game from 2011, and that can't really be beat. The progression in the game felt very satisfying in my opinion. You get a new weapon, ability, or just something in general every 30 minutes of gameplay or so. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. But this allowed me to experiment with the variety of weapons available and ultimately helped me decide what weapons I wanted to use and when. Progression for me was a 10 out of 10. Just fast enough you don't get bored, but not too fast you get bombarded with choice. However, the ending of the game was a little disappointing to me. It made me feel like ultimately nothing was achieved across the course of the game, which can be a tad frustrating, but it didn't leave a lasting impression on me personally. I think the game suffered from a trend in the early 2010s where endgame bosses would end up being solely QuickTime events to create a more cinematic experience, but in this example, I don't think that it landed too well. It built up a big bad that you just end up pressing left mouse button and space at the right time to beat. Ultimately though, it was a 2-minute disappointment, so it didn't ruin the game for me, but I could see how it could for others. Now, we beg the question, is Space Marine worth $60 in 2024? Drumroll please. I wouldn't say so. However, is it worth it on sale if you've never played it? Absolutely. The game was a blast for the few hours I had my hands on it. I didn't try multiplayer because I'm pretty awful at online games and I don't even know if the servers are still up at this point. But Space Marine was fun and I'm glad I got to enjoy it before playing through Space Marine 2. However, from what I've heard, it's not necessary at all to play the first one if you're looking to pick up the second. The only thing is that Captain Titus is a returning character in Space Marine 2, but that's really it. From my understanding, it's a self-contained story outside of this one. My overall score for the game is a 9 out of 10. I never opened the game wondering if I was going to finish it that day or wondering how long I was going to play it. I just played it for as long as I felt like playing it, and also genuinely enjoyed it as it came to me. A few frustrating things here and there, but the fan service was more than enough to keep me entertained, so I think I would give this game the channel's first Certified Shiner award. Anyways, thanks for watching.